Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, welcome back to the channel. Vetri here, and yes, we have the second day of the Korean baseball organization, the KBO. I'm going to be completely blunt with you. This is just a bunch of bogus, but I know people are searching for it, hence releasing a video at 6 p.m. last night and getting a ton of viewership and the search traffic spiking because it's something new and people are craving for some type of sport. So it's going to be around for probably a quick 2 to 3 weeks, and I wasn't planning on making any more content for it, but a lot of people had positive feedback, and Draftkings increased the prize pool for tonight's contest to $50,000 instead of opening night $20,000, which shows you that they probably got some decent turnout. Now, there's huge issues with it because it starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. The lineups as of right now don't come out until 12:30 a.m. I don't stay up that late. I did not play last night, but I know a lot of you are going to be playing, and I have put sheets together. I have over on Patreon, if you're indeed interested, these sheets. I'll have my pitcher projections over there, pitcher rankings, and then stack rankings as well. I'm not going to break down into individual players because in baseball, I do not care about individual players. I care about stacking, which is going to, once you get down into it, individual players on a specific team for your stack will matter. But I care much more about stacking. I'm not spending a lot of time evaluating individual first basemen against first basemen unless you're doing some one-offs. That's the only time when that happens. And at that point, you don't really need to look too much into it in a 10-person league. So I really care about pitchers first and foremost, and then stacks after that are really just stacking 5 players from a team or 4, depending on what type of stack you want to do. I'll have those rankings over on Patreon. You can find them linked down below. So hit the subscribe button. The big one's about to pop up on the screen. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, just the time of the day that these things start, the fact that it's just something new that will sustain it for now. But I'd say in about 2 to 3 weeks, this is going to phase out very much so. I know they have a contract signed with ESPN for all year, but golf starts in a month. We're going to have actual MLB spring training starting in a month. That's going to probably pick up bigger contest sizes, I would imagine, if they can pull off the spring training than this one. So enjoy the Korean Baseball League for 2 to 3 weeks. If people are on the West Coast, you actually have the nice advantage of it starting at a reasonable time, like 10 p.m. at night, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, if you're on the East Coast, it's a pretty shitty situation. You're probably not playing, and if you are, you're going to bed. So what's the whole point of actually playing it? You don't have the sweat, which is the actual entertainment part that we're hoping for. Otherwise, just play CSGO esports if you want to watch something throughout the day. Check out the stuff on Patreon. Be sure to hit the big subscribe button that's about to pop up. And I appreciate it if you check out some of the NFL content. I'm going to be releasing a draft guide for the NFL season. There's going to be a sign up down below to let me know that you're interested in it, and we'll pop out an email, an early release benefit and coupon type of thing for you if you're on that email list. So check that out, pumping out content every single day for the NFL. Let me know what you think about it. If you haven't already checked out the videos, I can assure you it's the best content that you're going to find for the NFL season on YouTube. So without further ado, the pitchers. And the pitchers, at least we have probable pitchers coming out early via DraftKings, so that's good to see. They're giving us that. Now, these pitchers might change. These pitchers might not be the exact pitchers that you're getting. These are what I'm going based off of the probable pitchers on DraftKings. The starting lineups, this is another reason why I can't analyze the starting lineups and individual players for you. Maybe in 2 to 3 weeks when I think this is already going to be phased out, maybe at that point we have an idea of what the lineups are always going to be. There's not a ton of interchangeable parts, and I guess you can use last night's lineup as a reference for tonight's lineups. We're not going to have definitive lineups until 2 weeks to have any type of sure statements on what the lineups are actually going to be and feel good about projecting it. So I'm not going to be breaking down in these videos and speculate on lineups when 2 or 3 guys aren't going to be in them. It just is a waste of time. And individual players, again, I do not care about individual players. I care more about the stacks. So I'm not killing a bunch of time, and I'm not going to try and portray it in these videos as if that's going to be the case. When we go to the pitchers here, you can see what you're going to see on the screen is just the pitcher's name, all their DraftKings information, how many innings pitched per start they've had over the last year and a half. If we have that data on them, you can see we pretty much have the data for all these pitchers. And ERA, which I don't like looking at ERA, like I said yesterday, but we don't have the advanced metrics of XFIP and XSierra and all that stuff. Ks per 9, home runs per 9, walks per 9, hits per 9, all those are fine to actually look at as averages. And then when you see all the way in the right column, op stats, is opponent stats, you're going to see you want those numbers for home run rates to be lower because the opponents are hitting less home runs off of them. There's not going to be as many strikeouts in this league, so you really have to try and get the win. As I record this, and they didn't come out till late yesterday, and I'm not waiting again until later in the day. I'm recording this at 11:27 a.m. East Coast time as of right now when I'm talking. There's no Vegas odds out yet. You're going to see Vegas odds and totals. I'll post them. I'll update them over on Patreon. You can check them out over there. But that's going to help you determine where you want to go with your money lines. Most of the Vegas odds opened up at an 8.5 run total game. Some teams had 5 implied run totals, and the underdogs were about 3.5. So that was pretty much every single team across the board outside of maybe one of them. Maybe you get that again here, but we'll look at some of these spots where you're going to have a good advantage against the overall offense against them, because that's what you're really looking at for a pitcher. And then that gives you an idea of what these stacks are going to do. So if you want to look at it for an idea for stacks, you can get an idea of it by looking right over here and seeing, okay, this is what this team did last year. Wow, they were hitting a lot of home runs. Wow, they were getting a lot of hits, strikeouts, whatever it might have been. And that gives you a better understanding of what to expect from your stack. And then there'll be more stats over on Patreon to get even more understandings of what these stacks are going to do. So without further ado, the most expensive pitcher on the slate is going to be Jae-Hak Lee. And Jae-Hak Lee averaged 5.3 innings pitched per start last season. I mean, that's okay. You're not getting the deepest type of pitching out of him in that regard, but you're really not seeing a great amount of stuff if you're just using the last year and a half of stats. Only 6.3 Ks per 9. That's not that great. We'll see what the Vegas odds actually end up being. The opponent that you're going to be going up against today, 2.51% home run rate, is the second highest in the slate from last year. The best batting average out of all these teams based on the last year and a half of statistics in the database is what we have. A strikeout rate of 20.1% is nice. That's the third highest in the slate, so a lot of power, but also a lot of swings and misses. But you're going up against a pitcher who is not really offering too much in terms of the swing and miss department at 9,500, by far the most expensive pitcher on the slate tonight. So I'm just looking at this from an analytical standpoint, and I'm not somebody who watches the Korean Baseball League, and I damn well know, sure, that you're probably not either, at least 99.99% of you. Just looking at this from an analytical and not a film standpoint, probably not going to pay up all the way up to 9,500 unless the Vegas odds are just wildly ahead of everybody else, and they're like a minus 300 favorite compared to everybody else. Then I'll start to consider it more. Jung-Hoon Park at $7,900, averaged 5.1 innings pitched per start last year. Again, a pitcher who didn't get a ton of strikeouts, just 6.3 per contest. Walked 3.7 batters per game last year, was the second most. But if you just look at the opponent in general, you see a 22.3% strikeout rate led the slate over the last year and a half. So the opponent, 22.3% strikeout rate, walk percentage is 9.3%. That's low. And then you're getting a bunch of other numbers when it comes to slugging percentage and on base percentage being some of the lowest on the slate. So it's a nice, at least at 7,900, an easier matchup for a pitcher who doesn't seem to have too much put away stuff, you can say. Then we start getting down to some of these cheaper pitchers, and Ben Lively, a former pitcher in the major leagues, I believe with the Kansas City Royals at one point, coming down here at 9.2 strikeouts per nine, by far leads the slate. 2.1 walks per nine is the second lowest on the slate. So you're getting a very good pitcher facing a team that has a lot of power, and that's the issue here. 2.58 home runs per nine leads the slate. All of the slugging percentage and OPS leads the slate. So at 6,300, you're getting a good pitcher going up against a really good offense, though. So I think it's worth the risk. I mean, you have an MLB caliber pitcher down there in Ben Lively at 6,300. I really do think it's worth the risk. Also have another MLB caliber pitcher in Tyler Wilson at just 6,600. So a couple of guys down here who they might not be the biggest favorites. You're not going to get a lot of strikeout rate, though. So in Tyler Wilson's matchup today, you're going to have the lowest strikeout rate against him, the lowest walk percentage. So you're in a situation where they're going to make a lot of contact. And if you're not getting the strikeouts and you're probably not getting the win at this price point, it's hard to like. Where if we're going to really weight that these are MLB players and take their caliber and their skill set in that regard, then yeah, Tyler Wilson gets a little bit of a knock up there. But in terms of matchup, it doesn't look great. 6.7 total strikeouts per nine is not the greatest that you're going to see. Does have a really good ERA at 2.92, but could be getting a little bit lucky there. So Wilson, Lively, I would probably take Lively out of all these guys below the $7,000 range. So if you're trying to take a shot on one of them, it would be Ben Lively for me. I actually think as a starting pitcher number 2, he's not a bad option by any means. Out of the 3 pitchers in that 7K range, look, I think you have a couple of decent options. I mean, all these pitchers, so whether it's Jung-Hoon Park, whether it's Min-Jae Chang, whether it's William Cuevas, they're all in a really good spot in terms of their opponents just striking out a ton, not putting up a lot of damage. So whichever one fits into your lineup at that point stands out. William Cuevas went 6.13 innings pitched per start last year, had the best overall innings pitched per start out of all those 7K options. Gave up the least hits per nine at 7.5 on the slate. 0.9 home runs per nine is a little bit of above average, so that's not as great, but you're getting a 22.1% strikeout rate against him, second best in the slate. A team that just doesn't walk all that much, that's good to see as well. And the average of slugging percentage, runs per game being the lowest in the slate. So at 7,300, William, I believe it's Cuevas, whatever it is, it's looking decent at that 7K range. So Ben Lively in the 6K range stands out. William Cuevas at the $7,300 price point stands out. But I don't think that Jung-Hoon Park is a terrible option either at $7,900. And then if you want me to go anything above that, it's going to be Eric Jokic. Eric Jokic, 3.13 ERA last year, gave up around 7 Ks per 9 is what he was averaging. That's pretty good. It's slightly above average. You're getting a team that just doesn't hit home runs, getting a team that doesn't strike out as much, a little bit below average. But when you factor in probably the higher Vegas implied run total, probably going about an inning pitch per start more than some of these other pitchers ahead of him on the slate and especially below his price point. 8,500 is a nice spot. So yeah, Jake Hockley at the top of 9,500, probably somebody to stay away from. Young Holly, not really a strong stance there. Only 5 Ks per 9 is not what I want to look at, but really we're not caring too much about Ks. 5 Ks per 9 is terrible compared to everybody else on the slate. But you really want to heavily weight the overall win opportunity. So the Vegas odds, once they come out, because you're not going to get a ton of Ks in general in this league compared to the MLB, you're also not going to get a lot of home runs. So I might fade the top 2 priced pitchers here. And honestly, some of these cheaper guys look really good. The 7K range all around looks good. Then Ben Lively, Tyler Wilson at the bottom. Lively standing out the most out of the cheap options. So I think Lively's fine. He'd probably project out nicely for me, but I'll have those up later today. Picture up above, the promotion down below is Monkey Knife Fight. Check out Monkey Knife Fight. They have player props over there for a ton of stuff. MMA that's happening right now, NASCAR that's coming back, all the esports. I'm sure they might even have Korean baseball stuff up as we're talking about this and getting it up. They're the fastest growing spot in North America, on the continent of North America for daily fantasy sports. Awesome group of guys and girls over there. Check them out. It's player props. You bet the over-under. You bet the more or less, whatever it might be. If you sign up with that promo below of $10 minimum deposit, they'll give you $15 for free, 150% match, all the way up to $50. So if you want to put in $50 because you like getting more action down on these sites and getting just more money out there, they will give you $55. So they'll 100% match you plus $5. Check out Monkey Knife Fight. There's a link down below in the description, or if you just go over to Monkey Knife Fight, use the promo code Vetri. They will honor you, letting you know that you came from this video and this podcast, and say, here you go, take this free money and go gamble with it. So go get into that. Now let's get back into the video. So later today, I'll have the rankings. I'll have this sheet. I'll have the pitcher projections. I'll have the stack rankings and pitcher rankings. Those will all be on Patreon. I also have on Patreon all the other stuff in terms of the esports that are going on, golf, MMA, all that stuff too, as we approach golf coming back. Real golf, not just the Outlaw Tour, and then baseball and all that stuff, and especially football. So check out some of the football videos. Down below in the description is the free rookie rankings for football, as well as a way to sign up for my draft guide when it comes out. Doesn't mean you have to pay me. It just means I'll send you a notification and say, hey, remember you signed up for this? Are you still interested? Here's a coupon. So check all that out down below. Hit the subscribe button. Big one's about to come up on the screen. Reach out to me on Twitter at Vetri Dfs if you have any questions. A couple people have asked me, Sal, what about positional projections? If you're playing 150 lineups in this, you will need positional projections. Yes, I'm not going to be playing 150 lineups in this, at least as of right now. Maybe if it gets up to 100K at first, I will, but I'm going to be playing single entry, 3 max, maybe some 20 max. So I'm not going to be building huge projections for positional because I care about stacks and I care about pitchers. I'll have pitcher projections. I'll have stack rankings. That's all I care about at this point. Yes, if you have projections and you're playing 150 lineups, you're going to need them. Otherwise, it's going to take a while to hand build your lineups. But for me, I don't care about positional projections. Even in the MLB, I don't really care too much about positional projections. You need them because it's the only way an optimizer will work for you. But in terms of how much they actually matter, they matter the least out of probably every single sport, very similar to golf. The only reason that you actually want projections is to, I guess, get a sense of the slate if you aren't having any sense of it at all, but mainly just so the optimizer will run. So you can check out all that stuff on Patreon. Lots of freebies in the giveaway below, the ones that I talked about. Check out Patreon if you want to get all that stuff. Follow me on Twitter. My name's Sal. Hope you have a great rest of your day. KBO, day 2. Enjoy it, everybody. Peace out.